Hey Encounter, good morning. Welcome to our daily devotional where we are going a little bit more depth on the topic that we discussed on Sunday morning in our service. When I just read this to you, this is a section from the Psalms. This is Psalm 57, and I just want to read you starting on verse 7. It says, "My heart, O God, is steadfast. My heart is steadfast. I will sing and make music. Awake, my soul, awake, harp and lyre. I will awake in the dawn. I will praise you, Lord, among the nations. I will sing of you among the peoples. For great is your love reaching to the heavens, your faithfulness reaches to the skies. Be exalted, O God, above the heavens. Let your glory be over all the earth." The psalmist is, writing about praising God, and one thing that he says in that verse is kind of like the setting of time when he does this. He says, I'll sing and make music, and then awake my soul, awake harp and lyre. I will awake in the dawn. What the psalmist is saying is that the very first thing that he does when he wakes up is he sings to God. And I've been reflecting on that a lot. And listen, I know that we all have different schedules. Some of us wake up, a minute before work starts. Now that we're all doing work, remotely via Zoom, some of us literally like open up our eyes, roll out of bed, and turn on our laptop, and we're at the office. And back, we're dreading the day that we have to commute again because we have no idea how we're gonna wake up on time again. Some of you are morning people, and this is you. Like, you wake up and you feel energized. You take your shower, you exercise, you drink your coffee, and it's easy for you to be productive in the morning and do things in the morning. But there's something in the scriptures about making seeking God a priority. And like the psalmist particularly, this is not the only passage. Like Psalm 63, he says like, "Early in the morning will I seek you." There's this idea in the Psalms that part of what it means to have an intricate connection with God is that the very first thing that we do, the very first, place where thoughts go in the morning is to Him. And I think that in the context of the conversation we're having about seeking God in terms of shelter and lifting up our praises to God, that's actually incredibly important. Because I don't know how you are, but for me, whatever, I ingest first will affect the rest of my day. If the thing that you do when you wake up, and I'm guilty of this, like check my phone and go on Facebook and check Twitter, and all of a sudden I'm starting to get all of this influx of stuff into my mind. The reason why we can switch this around to do them early in the mornings and post them on social media is because I know that a lot of you, that's the first thing that you do. You wake up and you go on social media. I do the same thing. I'm guilty of that. But there is something about the spirituality in the scriptures, particularly of the psalmist, of this idea that they had a type of relationship with God that when they would wake up, the very first thing they would do would be to seek God. And I just want to encourage you with that this morning. What will our lives look like if when we wake up, the very first thing we do is not to go on social media or read the newspaper or whatever else, but actually to seek God? If we're to wake up, maybe where we are in our beds, or find a quiet place and just worship Him. Maybe you sing a song to Him at that time. Maybe you put on some worship music and just listen to it. Maybe you read the scriptures. Maybe you offer prayers of thanksgiving. But we do something where the very first thing that we do is our centering our thoughts and our hearts and our minds to God. The very first thing, the very first song that comes from our hearts, it's a song to God. Because I actually think that it will affect how we live the rest of our day. It does something. It kind of centers our minds and centers our thoughts into how the rest of the day works. And a lot of what happens to me when I manage to do this, and I'll be honest, it's not like I can do it all the time, but what happens to me is that when I've made seeking God a priority, I've made lifting my song to God the very first thing that I do, is that the day, every day throws at us things that we're not expecting. There will be good things, there will be bad things, there will be disappointing things, opportunities for us to love, and opportunities for us to maybe hurt or to be angry at people or to lose your joy. Like all of these things are wrapped up in every single day. And when I have made a priority to seek God, and I've made it a priority to the very first thing that lives on my lips is the praise of God. It's almost like I'm opening my mind and my heart to the life of the Spirit in such a way that when those moments come later in the day, that proximity to God seeps into how I live my life. And I'm able to respond in a more kind way in situations where I may be tempted to be unkind. I'm able to find peace in moments that normally would have robbed me of my peace. I'm able to give love and forgiveness in moments where I would have been tempted not to. I'm able to have hope in situations where I wouldn't have hope. I'm able to, if we go back to the theme that we've been talking about, to find the shelter of God in the midst of my day. Because I've left my song to God first. Like there's something, because what's happening, and we talked about this on Sunday, what's happening is that the very first truth that my brain is being made aware of, the very first truth that my heart is being made aware of, is not whatever problems or whatever situations are out there. It's not even whatever is going on in my household with my children or with my spouse or with my family or friends. The very first truth that my life is being made aware of is who God is. The greatness of God, the kindness of God, the goodness of God, the love of God. And when I live out of that reality, I'm able to face the world in a different way. So maybe a challenge or an invitation for you for the rest of this week. What would you do if like the very first thing you do tomorrow morning when you wake up, maybe if you're watching this in the morning, the very first thing you do after you turn this off is, before anything else, carve like a few minutes and lift up your song to God. Lift up your worship to God. What if tomorrow you set that alarm clock like 5 minutes before and lift up your song to God? Maybe your life is such, it's busy that you're taking care of your kids and it's hard for you to find time alone. But maybe while you're doing that, center your heart not only in whatever is going on, but also in God and in His goodness, and in His mercy, and in His love. And just watch how that kind of like starts like seeping out into the rest of your life, into relationships, into interactions, into your thoughts. That's my invitation for us this morning. That's my invitation for us the rest of this week. Will you mind praying with me as we conclude this time? Dear God, every day has all these opportunities for anger and joy and despair and sadness. And at the same time, God, the reality is that you are above that. And in you, when we live this life centered on you, there is also opportunities to find beauty and joy and freedom and love. And my prayer this morning is that as we seek you first, as we awaken the dawn with our praise of you, that your Spirit, God, would pull us into this relationship with you, into this life with you, that we see the world through those eyes, through the lens of you, through the lens of who you are, and that would affect how we treat our family, how we interact with our coworkers, how we go through life in the day. May we be able, Lord, to find our shelter in you when we seek you first in the morning. Thank you, Lord. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Grace and peace.